My name's Guybrush Threepwood and I want to be a pirate. And they've got you with the first line there, haven't they? Out of the gate. Probably the most iconic opening line of any computer game. We're given everything we need to know about the character and everything we can expect from the game. Nearly 30 years on, The Secret of Monkey Island is still a banger. This is going to be a fairly short video. I want to keep this breezy and I'm sure there's plenty of content out there about this game. The Secret of Monkey Island is about Guybrush Threepwood, a happy-go-lucky moron who actually wants to become a pirate at some point during the 17th century. It's a decision that he would live to regret were he only blessed with enough intelligence to understand the gravity of the situations he keeps finding himself in. The first chapter of the game's story sees Guybrush attempting to complete 3 challenges in order to become a fully-fledged pirate, but before long he's caught up in a swashbuckling story of love, adventure and spooky ghost pirates. The Secret of Monkey Island's #1 asset is the quality of that writing. Guybrush is your typical hapless adventure game protagonist. His ignorance and his stupidity never fails to surprise, and yet I found it to be completely charming. Threepwood's love interest is Elaine Marley, and she is one of the most kick-ass women in all of computer games. Although, tragically, she's barely on screen before being kidnapped by the spooky ghost Captain LeChuck. It's a cool trope to have inverted in the game. Elaine is more than capable of taking care of herself, but she keeps finding herself in deeper and deeper water due to Guybrush's repeated bumbling attempts at rescuing her. If he left her well alone, she would undoubtedly be better off. It's the opposite of the kind of stuff we were seeing in films of the time like Indiana Jones or Romancing the Stone. The principal cast are just deep enough to be able to tell this story and to keep the momentum going, but in my opinion it was the supporting cast that really shone during this game. The colourful characters which Guybrush meets on his adventures on Melee Island and beyond are what made The Secret of Monkey Island worth playing for me. That's what I think you would enjoy most today, and that's really where all the laughs can be had. And I did laugh at this game, out loud and often. I was actually surprised at how often this game kept making me laugh. Considering there's no voice acting, I'm just reading silent text off of my laptop screen, and I would say that irreverent 90s humour is probably Monkey Island's strongest suit. The Secret of Monkey Island was clearly funny in its day, but crucially it's still funny now, which can't be said for everything from 1990. The Secret of Monkey Island was created as a collaboration between Ron Gilbert, Tim Schafer and Dave Grossman, 3 giants of the adventure game world, and their work here makes Monkey Island something of a seminal game. It's the adventure game design laid down in Monkey Island that makes it still fun to play today. Adventure games before Monkey Island, like those from Infocom or from Sierra Online, they tended to be pretty unfair. Players could be killed by making the wrong decision, and you'd often find yourself painted into a corner because you didn't pick up an item earlier on in the game, or because you made a mistake earlier on but you weren't told about it. It meant that you had to start the whole game over from the beginning, and it was just really unfair feeling. Monkey Island changed that with what I've come to refer to now as the LucasArts method. You can't f*** anything up so badly that you fail the game, and it's really hard to kill Guybrush in this. And the action menu at the bottom of the screen, I find it a bit archaic now compared to more modern games. Most games since the early 90s have adopted into that contextual mouse cursor, which offers sleeker game design and it doesn't give you so many redundant options. But with that said, this is a massive step up from those old 80s text parsers, which is something that the game's creator Ron Gilbert was dead against. The gameplay in The Secret of Monkey Island was designed to be player friendly first, and for a 1990 title, it definitely succeeds. Even now, nearly 30 years on, the game is beautifully simple and easy to get through. Adventure game puzzles do require a little bit of that moon logic sometimes, you know. I feel like it's a vocabulary that you need to learn, but once you know it, everything makes its own kind of sense. Monkey Island's puzzles do tend to follow that LucasArts adventure game logic, so as long as you're able to think laterally, you won't be left scratching your head for too long. I didn't struggle with this game, and I am not a smart man. As a testament to the somewhat legendary status of this game, its three creators are all now pretty much regarded as geniuses in their own right. In a way, I felt like playing Monkey Island was like watching a film that had been written by Francis Ford Coppola, shot by George Lucas, and directed by Steven Spielberg. Despite the game being an early DOS game with no sound, I have to give a shout out to that music, man. One of the most iconic MIDI themes of the DOS era. The Monkey Island theme is an absolute cracker. The Secret of Monkey Island was remastered in 2009 and was re-released for iOS, PC, Mac, Xbox 360 and PS3. The updated version has higher resolution digital painted art instead of the low resolution pixel art and features a full voice cast. The high-res graphics feature the same number of animation frames as the original game though, so I don't actually like it. It feels kind of janky to me. I prefer the look of the old pixel art, but the good news is you can actually switch to the pixel art during the remastered version of Monkey Island. So if you prefer that like I do, then it will suit you perfectly. I've played the game both ways and I can say that I prefer the original, and this is entirely without nostalgia because I only actually played this game for the first time this year. I know. I've played a lot of adventure games and somehow this is one that just passed me by. I finally picked it up and played it, and no nostalgia, no rose-tinted glasses. I do want to mention though, the voice actors that LucasArts brought in, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but there are some real standouts, man. The great Earl Bowen plays LeChuck brilliantly, but again it's another example of where the supporting cast really shines. Cam Clark, better known as 80s Leonardo, is great as Meat Hook and Meat Hook's tattoo. For me, the workhorses who are taking on multiple roles, these guys sound like they're having so much fun. Wally Winger, Jess Harnell, Roger Jackson, one of my all-time favourites, Rob Paulson, they're all getting stuck in with ensemble characters. Even LucasArts old guard David Collins turns up and sticks in an appearance. It's not the best acted game I've ever heard, certainly not, but I love me some voice acting, man, especially when the voice of Mojo Jojo is playing a rat. My only regret is that there isn't a way for you to play the game with the original pixel art but with the new voice acting. For me, that would be a perfect marriage of these two worlds, these two games. I mean, for me, that would be perfection. You can buy Monkey Island Remastered on all digital formats. At this point, I would recommend that you buy it on GOG or Steam, because even with the new contextual cursor on the console versions, the game is still far more suited to the PC. The Secret of Monkey Island Remaster is a great way to celebrate these old adventure games of the past, and that's what I'm all about really here on these Second Wind videos. If you're keen to grab a physical copy for your old PC, if you're an old retro gamer like me, then I would recommend that you try to pick up a CD copy of the game. They do tend to be slightly cheaper than the floppy disk versions, but be aware this is not a cheap game to buy, so prepare your wallet. Thanks very much for watching my video. As I said, this is the first time I played this game, so this is a completely from fresh opinion. It's so worth your time. Go out and get it. If you haven't played it already, please do. It's an excellent game. If you like old adventure games, then please check some of these links out here and hit subscribe. We've got new stuff coming out all the time. Alright, cheers then. Ta-da.